Hi everyone, welcome to today's tutorial. So in this tutorial we're going to discuss how you can solve for n in the following equations that we've been given. Alright, so this is a very simple question, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel in case you have not yet done that, so that every video that I'm going to be posting, at least you should be able to be notified. And don't forget to click on the notification button there after subscribing. And if you have any questions or you would like to join the tuitions, you can simply contact me using these lines on the screen. Okay, let's continue. So this is the question. So the first question says n choose r is equal to 15. So in the previous questions I showed you how you can evaluate if you the question is n choose 2 is equal to 15. So in the previous question I showed you how you can evaluate this n choose r. We said this one can either be written as n factorial over r factorial open brackets n minus r factorial. So this is exactly what you are supposed to do if you've been given anything that is in this format. And then apart from that, if for instance you've been given 3 choose 2, 3 choose 2 is going to be equal to 3 factorial over 2 factorial, then open brackets 3 minus 2 factorial. So this can also be written as, or you can simply simplify it and you're going to get 3 factorial over 2 factorial. 3 minus 1 gives you 1 factorial there. So you can simply now just say 3 times 2 factorial over 1 factorial is 1, so we can simply just write 2 factorial, because we have, when you multiply 1 times 2 factorial, still get 2 factorial. So that 2 factorial and that 2 factorial cancel, so the final answer will just be 3. So the other way you can simplify this in a simpler way is by simply first starting with the denominator there, the r. You start with the r and then you write the 2 factorial down. So 2 factorial is simply just okay, let me do this. 2 factorial down, and then okay, even without writing this, let me just say you first write 2 factorial, and 2 factorial we know that is the same as 2 times 1. So you start with writing what is down. So if you have 2 numbers down here, we have 2, 1, 2. Sometimes you can have 4, sometimes you can have 5, depending with the number that you've been given. So since we have 2, meaning we have 2 factorial down there, so we have 2 numbers there. So since we have 2 numbers, on top there we're also going to write 3 factorial, but as we write 3 factorial, we have to end at or we have to write exactly the number of numbers that are in the denominator. So since we have 2 numbers there, on the numerator there we also write 3 times 2. We end there. Since there are 2 numbers down, we make sure that the numerator should also have what? 2 numbers. So okay, so from there we just have to cancel what is common. So 2 and 2 they are common, so the answer will just be 3 over 1, which gives you 3. Yeah, so that's the simplest way. So for this one, for the second for the second part, let me give you another example, because I want us to use the second method to solve the questions. That's why I'm emphasizing that. So you can also have maybe 5 choose 3. 5 choose 3. So meaning I'll start with writing what is in the denominator there, which is 3. So I'll write 3 factorial down, which will be 3 times 2 times 1. And since there are 3 numbers there, I'll make sure that on top there I'll also write 3 numbers, 5, starting from the value of n there. 5 times 4 times 3. So the number of numbers down should be equal to the number of numbers on the numerator. So I can cancel that 3 and that 3, and 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 4, 2. 5 times 2, you're getting 10 as the solution. So this is how you use this second method. It's very simple. So let's use that same one to solve the questions. So we have that is equal to that. So this one, this side on the left, I'll first start by writing the denominator, which is 2 factorial, which is 2 times 1. So in the numerator there, I'll have n as the first number, and then the second number will be n minus 1. And this is what I'm going to have. So this will be equal to 15. So I'll make sure that what is down there, I have 2 numbers down, meaning the numerator there are also supposed to be 2 numbers. So I can simplify this. So n times n, I'm getting n squared. N times negative 1, I'm getting negative n, over 2 times 1, that's 2, is equal to 15. So when you simplify this further, you're going to have n squared minus n, cross multiply there, is equal to 30. So this is a quadratic equation which everyone, I believe, can solve. So we have n minus n. When this 30 crosses the equal sign, we're going to get negative 30 being equal to 0. So the factors, the product is going to be 1 times negative 30, which gives us negative 30. Then the sum is going to be the coefficient of n there, which is negative 1. So which 2 numbers can we multiply to get negative 30? When we add, we get negative 1. So it's negative 6 and 5. So when we multiply these 2 numbers, we're getting negative 30. When you add them, we're getting negative 1. So we can replace them there. We have n squared, then positive 5n, negative 6n minus 30 is equal to 0. So we factorize the equation, n plus 5. This is what we're going to have. Then we have negative 6n plus 5 is equal to 0. Then n plus 5, then we have n minus 6 is equal to 0. Then from there we're going to have we're going to equate all this to 0. So we have n plus 5 is equal to 0, and n minus 6 is equal to 0. So the first value of n will be negative 5, and then the other value of n will be 6. Now the question is saying n is what? Is a positive integer. So this one is disqualified. Hence the value of n is what? 6, which is this one, since it's positive. So it's a simple question. If you have any question about what I've solved, you can simply just text me on WhatsApp, then I'll see how best I can help you. Let's move on to B. So on B we have n plus 2. N plus 2, choose R. N plus 2, choose R. Our R there is what? Is 4. Then we're saying this is equal to 6. N, choose 2. So we're going to do the same. On the denominator there, I'm going to have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. On the numerator there, I'm going to have n plus 2. Then from there, we subtract 1 from 2, we're going to have n plus 2 minus 1 is 1. Then from there, we subtract 1 from this part here. So we're going to have 1 minus 1, which is just going to have n. So n plus 1 minus 1 is just going to give us n. And then the last one, since we have 4 numbers down, we need to have 4 numbers on top as well. So the last one will therefore be n minus 1, because we're subtracting 1 from each term that we're having there. So we say this is equal to, then we have 6, open brackets. Down there, we're going to have 2 times 1. On the numerator, since we have 2 numbers down, on the numerator we also need to have 2 numbers. The first one should be the value of n there. The second one will be n minus 1. So this is what we have. Alright, so this 2 times 1 to give us 2. So 2 and 2 there can cancel. I mean 2 can go into 6 3 times. Then down there, what we can have, what we're going to have is 4 times 3 times 2, which gives us 24. Yeah, so on the numerator there, so if we divide on both sides, we divide both sides by n minus 1, you discover that that and that will go. If we divide by n on both sides, that n and that n will go. So we're just going to remain with n plus 2 and n plus 1, and then everything over. When you multiply this, we're getting 24. Then this will be equal to 3. Yeah, because everything has cancelled with something, so we're just going to equate that to 3. So the other thing that we're going to have here, what we're going to do is to cross multiply. So we're going to have, as we're cross multiplying, we're going to multiply this and that. So n times n, we're getting n squared. N times 1, we're getting positive n. 2 times n, we're getting 2n. Then 2 times 1, we're getting 2. And this is equal to 24 times 3, which gives us 72. So here it's just a matter of simplifying. So let us simplify. So simplifying this, we're going to have this 72 cross the equal sign. So the first term we're going to have is n squared, and then n plus, sorry for that, n plus 2n, we're getting 3n, and then we have positive 2 minus 72 being equal to 0. So we're having n squared plus 3n, and then negative 70 being equal to 0. So we have to find numbers that we're going to multiply. Yeah, and those numbers that we're going to multiply, they have to give us what? Negative 70. When we add those two numbers, we need to get the sum, which is positive 3. And then these two numbers are simply just 7 and 3. Yeah, so it's 10 and 7 and 10, but one of them should be positive. So which one is going to be positive? The smaller number, so that if we add them, we should get a positive 3. Alright, so we replace them there. We're going to have negative 7 n positive 10n minus 70 is equal to 0. So factorizing this will give us n minus 7, then we say plus 10 open brackets n minus 7 being equal to 0. And then you can factor out what is common there, which is n minus 7, and then you write the remaining part in brackets as well. So you equate each of the terms to, each of the factors to 0. So n plus 10, you also equate this to 0. So when this crosses the equal sign, we're going to have the first value of n to be 7. Then the second value of n is going to be equal to negative 10. So negative 10. So the question says n is a positive integer, meaning the negative number will be disqualified. The value of n is therefore equal to 7. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me on any of these lines on the screen, and then I'll get back to you as early or as quickly as possible as soon as I see your question. And if you want to join the tuitions, the lessons, feel free to contact me on the lines on the screen. My name is Harmtedy. See you in the next tutorial video. Shalom, shalom.